Hello, hello, everybody. Thank you for tuning in. I want to talk about when being a makeup artist, you have a low budget, aka no money. Now, it's extremely hard because when you're a makeup artist, your makeup costs you a lot of money. And it's incredibly frustrating, especially when I know I have like no lipstick. Anyway, it's really frustrating because, first of all, just think like you have like no gigs, no clients coming up, and this is like your only job, and your makeup costs a lot of money. You just have to like put all those factors in, and it's very frustrating being a makeup artist sometimes. That's why you do, for the most part, need a second job. Now, what do you do when you don't have a second job? That's a good question. Me, I don't have a second job at the moment. But what I do is I honestly work with what I have. One thing that has definitely cut down costs for me is that I got a airbrush machine off of Amazon for $50. There's that. Then I make my own foundation for the airbrush compressor, which is just glycerin, distilled water, and like mineral foundation, some little tubes, some bearing balls, and I shake it up, and that's my foundation for my airbrush. And that when done that way, you have foundation for a very long time. And another pro to that is the airbrush foundation looks incredibly flawless on the skin. That's a great plus. And you can mix foundations, you can this, that, and the other. It's a great thing, trust me. And there is an airbrush compressor on Amazon and maybe eBay, I'm not sure, for $50, and it's called Vogue Air. Now, it says, I took a chance when buying this because I saw the reviews and it was like 2 to 3 stars, and I get why, and it's because it does like this pulsing thing, which is like brr, brr, but it's very sparingly. It doesn't usually happen, and usually my clients don't know that it's not supposed to do that. So when I get it and it does that, I'm just like, whatever, like it works fine. It comes with the airbrush gun, the hose, the core, everything. So I support getting that one when you're starting off airbrushing and you don't know what the hell you're doing. Granted, I worked in a place where they paid for my airbrushing class, which is like $200, and I went to be pro. I'm getting way off topic. Anywho, what I'm saying is airbrushing definitely cuts down because you can make your own foundation, and the airbrush compressor that I bought is only $50. And even if you didn't have the mineralized foundation, you can use a water-based liquid foundation, but you have to make sure it's not too thick when you put it into the gun. Water that down a tiny bit so it does not clog up your gun. That's the only thing. But if it's water-based, if the first 3 ingredients in your foundation is water-based, then it's fine to use in your airbrush gun. If it's oil-based or silicone-based, something like that, be wary. You can still do it, but you have to clean it out every time you change. Like, clean it out every time you're done. Clean it out every time you're done. But that's really the only concern with that. It doesn't hurt the airbrush machine. You can always take it apart and clean it, but it's just a hassle. It's always better to have more than one gun if you can't afford it. Another thing that cuts down is getting palettes. Now, I have some palettes. To be honest, my favorite palette is the Coastal Scents 66 lip palette. Now, with my looks, they are more on the editorial side. So this lip palette with so many different kinds of lip colors. This is lipsticks, not lip glosses, lipsticks, which is why I love it. You have everything from white to gold to pinks to reds to blues to purples to silver. Like, it's a really good palette. And there's there are some mattes in here, there are some shimmeries, glossies, but there's like everything in the world in this little lip palette. I will just keep buying this. I honestly, you know what I mean, I love that palette. That palette, obviously, in drugstore does not hurt. One thing to make your clientele not be so picky about what you're using on them is to depot your drugstore makeup. So you can always make your own palette. I don't recommend, okay, this is just personally me, a Z palette is 30 bucks. It's expensive to me. I am on a budget. Until I get to that point where I'm not on a budget, then I will get a Z palette. But like when it comes to eyeshadows like this, like some from Wet n Wild, first of all, these are hard to depot. So when you do get these out, I would hot glue them onto something. They won't come off. You know what I mean? Like they're fine. And just hot glue them onto your own personalized made palette. I know Encore Makeup has a really great do-it-yourself video on how he made his Hello Kitty palette, which is absolutely gorgeous. He got everything from like Michael's and it cost him like $5 and it looks gorgeous. He's just very creative. But that definitely helps, making your own things, making it your personalized things, and it does not have to be cheap just because you make it. That's what I learned too. Like, I'm learning that I have to slow down buying high-end products, but there's some low-end products that honestly worked great. Another way to save money is to go to a hair supply store. Those are great because I find foundations that are very hard to find anywhere else for like $3, and no one will ever know. Like this one, kind of a little bit of foundation on it. It's called True Self foundation. It's from Clean Color, SPF 15. This is my shade, and it doesn't say a shade on here. Doesn't say the code. It has like a number, MSB 222A. It is a red based foundation. Now I am red undertone kind of to an extent. Like, it depends on the season, but when I am, it's hard to find a foundation, and I usually wear, like, this is Max Pro Longwear because I have oily skin. This is NW45. This is my shade, but this is more of a clay toned yellow, yeah, yellow based foundation, I believe. And it's, no, orange beige, something like that. These are, I mix together, find my own foundation. Like, this is like 30 bucks almost. This was $3, and I have the same amount of foundation. So hair supply stores are great because they have very cheap products. There's, you know how MAC eyelashes cost like 16 bucks, something like that. There's eyelashes in the hair store for like $2, same quality. See, the hair store is great for that kind of thing. You can find blushes, you can find your cotton balls, your scissors, your puff balls. I wouldn't obviously use the hair store for everything, but they definitely have a lot of things that you could buy cheaper there versus MAC, versus L'Oreal, versus this, that, and the other. They definitely have things. They carry a lot of NYX products in hair stores, which is good to know. There's lipsticks for like every single shade. There's lipsticks for $1. Like, there's a lipstick that I can't seem to find at the moment, but it is a black lipstick, and you know how hard it is to find a good black lipstick, and the one that I found was $1. See what I'm saying? Like blues, greens, like weird colored lipsticks, $1, because you can't really find those anywhere. You can find them in high-end places, but they'll cost you $15, $15 and some change. So really shopping around, eBay palettes. I got this palette, which I broke actually. It was my fault. It's called Danny multicolored palette, and it has all of these matte colors, which I use a lot of the browns for my eyebrows when I fill them in for clients and myself. There's some blues that you can like mix with like solution, get a great blue. You can use them regular. There's a white, like this is regular eyeshadows. This is like $6. You know, just palettes. I recommend palettes because they don't hurt your wallet. And honestly, I mean, I know this video is about everywhere, but it definitely helps when you're going through. So you guys, if you're on a budget, I know I was rambling, but if you're on a budget, listen, because I'm definitely on a budget and it's harder. Foundations, I would say drugstore foundations are fine, are definitely fine. Definitely an airbrush compressor helps your when you go on gigs or to clients. It's easy to put in a bag with a whole box of, let's see, foundations and colors, and these are like very weird colors that I use for like editorial shoots. All, like, it doesn't cost much to make your own. All you need is glycerin, which is like $3 at any little Rite Aid, Walgreens, whatever, and like bottled water that hasn't been touched by any mouth or anything, and just put it in a bottle. You have your own airbrush foundation. Then there's palettes, BH Cosmetics, Coastal Scents. You can make your own palettes by going to like Michael's, getting some wood together. It's a really great project to do if you want your own palette and not spend $30 on a Z palette. Yeah, that's really it. Just definitely don't be afraid to do it yourself and save money wherever you can, and don't be afraid of those non big named products. Sometimes they're better. So see you guys.